if people want to buy them.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to this hat for the class.
Okay. Shani, share the pictures with me too.
Oh,
you're gonna put it
I
on-
usually wear like a, it kind of like holds the shape.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is like my standard one I used to wear every day, and it's like a rag. Like I wore it till it's.
How much is your
Fine, fine. I have to pay for another one before I go.
How much are they? The hats alone?
They're 70.
They're 70.
Not cheap.
Yeah. Hello. But not.
Oh, look, Hannah's out. No, we're just about to start. It's
Tomorrow? How you doing?
Hi, Rena.
I was on my way out to bed.
Hey,
Tonight, my cousin walking.
how you doing?
Okay, who needs paper?
There you are.
Here I am. Hello.
I do.
How's it going?
Good. I couldn't come in today, but I'm glad to connect online.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's an option.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a paper too.
How are you guys doing there?
So we're just setting, you have paper and paint and stuff, right? We're just making sure everyone has materials
Okay, great.
set up.
I just want paper.
1:15 officially, yeah. Okay. We're starting. See if I can follow my map. See if I can follow my treasure map. I know. I wonder where it goes. Hi, Fana Sarah. I don't see you, but I see you here. I'm glad. Okay, so we're all settling in. Yeah, everybody brushes on both sides of me. Paints.
Oh, you're supposed to tell me the dates if you won't be.
I will. I'm gonna double check with them all and make sure that they're real things.
You got it? Thank you.
You already gotta start.
Okay, great.
Do you
Both
paper?
sides are okay?
No, do this side.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna work with it, I'm sure.
Nothing was perfect.
You
want a perfect one? You want a more perfect one? No, this is great. Thank you. I like it.
Okay,
Thank you
so
much. Reminds me of myself.
welcome everyone to Sheva Chaya. We have met before, we have, but welcome to the class. And this class, we are really taking from the previous class and doing some art integration and creativity activities. And let's see what we have happening today. So we're on this journey of Bereshit, and as we know, as long as we're in Bereshit, I'm bringing in the Parsha. It's a real opportunity to go deeper. And there's a lot going on, there's a lot going on this week, and not to get too heavy or into too much of it, but to really, I wanted to dedicate this class to the Aliyah Nishmat of Eliyahu David Ben, his father's name. He's really, amen. And it's an unbelievable thing. I don't know, just like a little bit on a personal note, and it's totally related to what we're gonna work with today as well. But for myself, the day of the Levaya, so I'm in Tzfat, it's far away, and everyone over the world hears about things. It's as if we're connected now, because we're not, you don't hear like from a letter you get from someone 3 weeks later. You can see it immediately what's going on in the world, including even a Levaya, and it worked out that the link was put up like perfect timing in terms of like my day where I looked at it exactly when it was starting. So I put it on and I basically went to the Levaya like through my device. And it was really intense. Like I was there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it made me start to think. And I said, I don't want to go too deep into this because there's like a lot of content here that I want to get to. But there's something about it that made me start to think about, this transitional time that we're in. So people say with all when computers and devices and internet and all this started getting really strong in the past, I don't know, 5-10 years. So there's a lot of like resistance, like it's going to take over our lives. There's like the Matrix movie, like don't fall into the Matrix. Like everyone's like, there's that way of thinking, like look out, this is going to take you out of your life and you're not going to even have your life because it's going to swallow you up, God forbid, right? There's like this side of things in the world. And then with my experience, actually, honestly, with it, there is the other side as well, but this side of it, being able to be present for simchas, also for classes, also for learning and unbelievable things, that I was there. I was more there than I could have been without it by a million times. I was crying with them while walking him, like unbelievable, like how powerful that is. So I think it's just like an interesting factor I want to throw out there that really, we get these ideas as if, this is good and this is bad. So part of the clarifying of these 6,000 years that we're going through is actually clarifying that the bad and the good aren't mixed up anymore. At a certain point, it'd be really clear. Light is light, dark is dark, light is light. So there is no dark. Eventually we'll get it, something like that, right? So it's not just black and white, like, this, anyways, I don't want to go too deep with it, but it brought up for me this where we're going to go with this project today. I kind of named it cognitive dissonance, right? So we live in like a life where so many different things can be happening at the same time, and like the Alter Rebbe says, and it also comes up by the story of Rebbe Elazar, the son of Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai, when Rebbe Shimon taught him about the Beis HaMikdash and the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, he said, my heart on one side is crying and weeping, on the other side is rejoicing. So how at the same time a person can feel completely contrasting feelings and actually be going through unbelievably like different types of things at the same time. So that's a bit overwhelming, and it's also a bit amazing. And I think that it gives us a little bit of insight into this, how we ride this wave of matzav bet. We're going through this life where we're in the phase before it's all clarified that we actually know we're all good and whole, and it was all good the whole way. We're feeling it heavy. We have blinders over our eyes to make us forget over and over again that we're really souls and what's real. But in the meantime, we have this great gift of truth, and we have the Torah, we have the gift of our tradition, and we have amazing teachers, and the resources that we have can help us actually try to navigate these unbelievable experiences that they're so beyond, but we can actually harness the experience for the best, I would hope. So that's the goal. So if on one hand, it's this side and it's that side, it's what made me think of it with the Levaya of Eliyahu Zitzal was that it was like the saddest thing ever, right? Hashem Yerachem, and that the most beautiful, a level of a person who reconnects and connects to the Torah and the land and comes and does the army and works. It's like all the right things, like one thing after the next, jumping to good and good and good. And not only that, but inspiring others. And the family came also, and just good, unbelievable, good, holy, and amazing. Literally, he working by the Kotel Tunnels tour as a guide, like going to the Holy of Holies every day as your job. Hello, this is like, what is this neshama, right? So there's that, and it's so unbelievably sad what happened. It's just like beyond words. And at the same time, the Levaya itself, what it was like being a part of it divrei chizuk, the words that were given, like instead of giving over hespedim, like saying over eulogies. So the family requested that people say words of giving strength and of inspiration. And that's a lot of what happened. I mean, there was a variety of things that happened, but that's a lot of what was going on there. Not only that, but then when it was time to go through the whole process of the Levaya, the walking and the taking him, it was a 30-minute walk. I don't know if anybody saw this. 30-minute walk from the place where the Hespedim to the burial. Everyone's walking, following the ambulance, walking with it, singing, Animamin, like songs of like redemption. Like what cognitive dissonance? How much more extreme could it get? Right? Like this level of like emuna and like taking this level of
It's just temporary, almost
It's
not bad,
temporary.
it's just
yeah,
temporary.
and it was on such a level so beautiful and hard. So that's what kind of what I want us to work with today. There's a few sources I want to bring, and it just so happens that everything lines up in a certain way that's what we have to learn about this week anyway. So we have let's start here. Okay. We are right before Hanukkah, as we know, and this is tying us into you'll see where it all comes together, because these pieces come together. So this is Shlomo Katz put together some of the teachings of Reb Shlomo on Hanukkah, soul of Hanukkah, and we'll just jump in. So Reb Leibla Eger says that the whole world is divided into two categories, mashpia and mikabel, giving and receiving. The secret of life is knowing how to give and knowing how to receive. We always read the story of Yehuda and Yosef together, coming together around the time of Hanukkah. What's the connection? Yosef Atzadik's strength is giving. He gives out food to the whole world and sustains them. Yehuda's strength is that he mamish knows how to receive. He knows how to receive the highest rebuke and mamish bring his pain before God. Reb Leibla says that the story of Yehuda approaching Yosef is the closest thing in the world to Mashiach coming, when the giving and receiving come together. Vayigash elav Yehuda. So we're jumping a parsha ahead, but we won't be together next week. And Yehuda stepped forward. The great receiver is getting close to the great giver. Yosef Atzadik has a dream that he's giving out food to the whole world. Until his brothers came down, this is what he's doing, but it wasn't complete. Imagine that I have something and I'm giving out to the whole world, but the one person I love the most and want to give to the most is not there. My giving is not complete. In order to fully give, I must have the deepest kind of receiving. So all of us that have been in Yael's class with the introduction to the Zohar with Rav Ash, like thinking about this receiving it, like that need, what is our need and what is our giving and what is our receiving? This is like very, very, very deep stuff that is going on here. Okay, now everybody knows the whole secret of life. Thanks, Shlomo. What it is to be in exile. In exile, I might be doing everything right. I believe in God, I daven, but there's something missing. I'm not receiving properly. What does it mean that a person is sick? His body is not receiving what it needs in order to function properly. His soul is not getting what it needs. He's still alive, but he's not receiving the needs of his soul properly, because if my body and my soul are completely connected, I'm healthy. God forbid, if my body and my soul are not completely together, I'm a little bit sick. What is death? Death, chas v'shalom, is when the body and soul are completely apart. When does it begin? It begins because the body is not receiving 100%. If there's not 100% receiving, then slowly it stops working. God wants to give us so much. When I'm connected to the tree of life, I'm receiving in a very deep way, and I am the most alive. I can learn Torah, but if all I take out of it is do this and don't do that, or I'm taking cute, sweet things out of it, I'm not really receiving the Torah of the depths. It's on the level of tree of knowledge, and it doesn't last. The tree of knowledge is much deeper than doing the right thing in life. It has to do with receiving actual life, mamish, feeling alive to the deepest depths. Hanukkah is on the utmost level of fixing. I'm not just learning an information, it's full of life. Imagine if I have a little bit of understanding of what Yerushalayim is all about. I'm a lover of Zionism and I'm standing in Yerushalayim. It's the capital of my country. I'm a great nationalist and I feel the importance of Jerusalem. What am I receiving? Only the outside of the outside of the outside. Yehuda has the greatest vessels to receive life because you're most alive when you know how to learn from your mistakes. Yehuda has the deepest vessels to receive salvation because Yehuda is able to receive. Why isn't Mashiach coming? Because right now we don't even have the right vessels. Gavalta, we have to work on our vessels. Sometimes I see something which is so deep, but I have no way of receiving it yet. When it comes to the light of Hanukkah, it says, we have no permission to use it, only to watch it. Why can't I use it? I can't use it because the light of Hanukkah is the light of Mashiach. It's beyond us. I can't use it yet, but in the most unbelievable way, I'm also receiving it. So you see, to receive doesn't necessarily mean to use something. On Hanukkah, I'm receiving something which keeps me going until the great day without even using it. Okay, so that's a little intro towards Hanukkah. And I know it's a lot of like content at the beginning, but you'll see why we're doing this. Actually, let's do the first level. Okay, so those of us who are new, part of how we do this process painting experience is that we do stages. So I'll give a little time to paint. We'll give a little instruction of how to start. And then we're going to have a stop where you actually shouldn't touch the page anymore and let it dry. Do your best. I know it's hard, but try to not touch it. And then we'll go on. And today we're actually going to try to do 3 stages. So the way that we do the first stage is you take a paintbrush. Anyone who doesn't have paintbrushes, we have more here we can pass out. You take a paintbrush and you just dip it in the clean water and you paint the page wet. But now today we're going to do something specific. We're getting a little bit more like advanced here. We've done this a few times. Here's some brushes. You need brushes? Get out there. Here. I have here also. There's a lot. And there's paint too. You guys. Tape. Here's paint, guys. And paint. I don't have tape. Wait, don't paint water yet. Wait, we're getting specific. She wanted some tape to tape the paper to the tape. I know it starts to roll up. I know. It is best to take it down. You're right.
But next week is nothing.
But then,
Next week
I
we don't
tell
have
you
class.
what, it's gonna pick up,
Yeah.
the plastic, it's not gonna help.
So for now, we'll leave it, but we'll, it's a good thing to think. Also weights work, like something heavy on the corner, that also works. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna also work a little bit with these 3 matzavim. So it was brought up matzav aleph, gimel, and bet, right? So in the beginning, it's all good, right? Light and vessels, everything's good, but there's something missing. There's something that we need to go through, which is matzav bet, to get to the matzav gimel, where everything's really good because we recognize that everything that we're receiving. So we're gonna start with this idea of it being all good. That really behind the behind story, the back scene, and the end of the story, we already know. It's clear. It's good, right? So we're going with that for our starting point. And so how we're gonna paint this is, instead of painting the whole page with water, what I want you to do is, I don't have this paper yet. We're gonna start by taking the page, and you could do it with a little pen if you want, but you don't need to. You could paint with the water, just like a nice big circle, pretty close to the edge, and only wet the outside of the circle to the edge. Clear? Make sense? Just with water, and then take some paint and fill it with some color with this idea of it's all good.
What's the whole thing? What do you need a circle for your opinion?
You're painting from the circle out.
You're painting the whole circle or no?
You're wetting from the circle, and for the first stage of our painting, we're painting out. The middle's still not touched. You're making like a מסגרת. יש לך מסגרת של ציור ובפנים כלום. No water and no color for first, okay? I know in other weeks I did.
I started putting color, but it won't mess things up.
No, it's all
Does it
good.
matter horizontal or vertical?
No, you can choose. And I picked out special music for this week. I really worked on it actually.
What are we listening to?
This is Zusha.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Chaya, are we then painting outside the circle?
Yes, you just get it wet and paint from the circle out to the
Are you
edges.
painting them or just wetting
And
them?
paint it, wet it and
And
paint
wet.
it. Yes. Does it make sense, Rena?
Painting where it's
Yeah.
Painting where it's wet, yeah.
And does it, I know you're talking about Matzav Aleph Bet Gimel. is that showing up anywhere specifically, like outside, inside?
So the outside part we're painting now is like thinking about this part where it's all good. All the fan gimel, it's all good.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Is there something you want us to concentrate, like should this be small, should it be big, does it matter what?
In terms of how big it is, no, as long as you leave a space in the middle that isn't touched yet.
This is like, what are we concentrating on, good?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Hashem made everything perfect in the beginning, and it's going to be perfect in the end. And in the end of the day, we're going to see it always was. This is drinking water, right? It's all good. Okay. Okay, so hope you got a good Garrett going. Working on that outside and try to kind of come to wrapping it up a bit and giving it a little break. Let the page dry best you can. You know it's hard to stop. Get started. And I'm going to bring in another source now. You can paint a bit more, but please don't get the middle wet yet. So really what I wanted to focus on for this class before this whole thing happened, that threw in the intense cognitive dissonance thing, is kavana, really. So we have, everybody knows in the siddur of the Arizal, the very first thing that a person says before they start the morning prayers of Shachrit is that ani mekabel atzmi et mitzvah v'ahavta l'recha kamocha, right? That a person takes upon themselves to love every other Jew. This mitzvah, which really describes the state of l'kabel leman lashpia, to receive in order to give, right? That we're actually here in this world for each other, that we're all part of something bigger and we're all connected to each other. So I think that's awesome, and that's like so important. And it's such a little line, and there's not a lot of attention given to it. It comes up here and there. Obviously, I've heard it before. It's a thing, but the importance of it, the weight of those few words it's monumental. It's huge because it all matters where we're coming from, right? So we have kavana, we have like the where we're coming from, like what is this all about? So when we're in life experience, there's all types, as we know, of life experiences. So when we're in a life experience where we need to get through something and there's challenge, so the kavana, where we're coming from, what's happening from your inside, right? The actions can be very outside, like Shlomo was saying, but really where we're coming from the inside colors the whole thing. It's gonna define and color every action, every word, even thought that is coming through us, right? So we have this incredible experience of knowing there is such a thing as a tzaddik. It came up in the last class also, like this type of person that is so connected. So we have a very interesting insights from Rav Steinsaltz this week on the Parsha Vayishev about Yaakov and about this level of tzaddik. So here's what it says. It says, tzaddikim have no rest. Rashi introduces this week's Parsha with the words of the Midrash. Jacob wished to live tranquilly, to live in tranquility. But then the trouble of Joseph sprang upon him. When the tzaddikim wished to live in peace, the Holy One, blessed be He, says, is it not enough for the tzaddikim that so much is prepared for them in the next world? They seek to live in peace in this world. So this is from Breshit Rabbah. Jacob consistently tries to settle down quietly and live at ease, and each time some new trouble springs up upon him. In all the stories about Jacob and the stories of many other tzaddikim as well, we're often struck with the question of to what extent tzaddikim can attain peace of mind. The question is not about physical well-being. In the course of his life, Jacob is hardly harmed at all physically. Jacob's trials are in the sphere of sorrow and grief. And the story of Jacob is a struggle for peace of mind. When Rabbi Yanai says, in our hands we have neither the tranquility of the wicked nor the suffering of the righteous, in Pirkei Avot, he notes the seemingly counterintuitive reality that the wicked experience tranquility while the righteous experience suffering. The suffering of the righteous is part of their world, part of the pattern of their existence. The assurance of the righteous is that they will have no rest, neither in this world or the next. This is no coincidence. It's a basic philosophical tenet. God bestows many favors and gifts upon the righteous, both in this world and in the next, but tranquility is not one of them. Correspondingly, the Talmud states, for the wicked, sleep is good for them and good for the world, but for the righteous, it's bad for them and bad for the world. There is no rest for the righteous. When a tzaddik wants to rest, God does not let him, as if to say that the lack of tranquility is an essential part of being a tzaddik. So it sounds a lot like matzav bet, right? It's coming around. So if anyone's still painting, don't stop painting. Don't put more water on your page. Let's let it dry a little bit. And we're going to go through this a bit more. And okay, so we live in a world of questions. It's the world is seeking peace of mind. Everybody knows, right? There's so much awakening in just like the general consciousness of the world that people want peace of mind. They want a good life. They want to calm down. They want to get away from stress. Everybody, the whole world knows this now. Everyone's trying for that, right? Okay, so that's part of life. So I'm jumping ahead in the teaching here. I really suggest everyone gets this book and reads all of it. It's amazing. Okay,
Wait,
so
which one are you talking about? Shlomo's or something?
no, this is Rav Steinsaltz on the Parsha.
I understand some on the Parsha.
Yeah. Okay, so here we're jumping ahead, and here we go. In the language of our sages, there exist many different words for questions. This poses problems for translators, since this vast question terminology, with all the various shades of meaning, cannot always be rendered properly in other languages. No other language seems to have so many different words for a question as we do. It has been claimed that Eskimos have a remarkably large number of words for snow, and it's no wonder. They live in snow throughout their lives, causing them to develop fine distinctions between different kinds of snow, heavy, light, thin, etc. Each type of snow has its own term. In countries where snow falls not nearly as frequently, many fewer terms for snow exist. By the same token, Jewish people live in a world that is rife with questions. It's therefore understandable that so many terms have developed, each of which expresses a different aspect of questioning or different type of question. So I'm jumping again. Rabbi Simcha Banim of Peshischa is said to have suggested that a man should always imagine that his head is on the execution block, the evil inclination standing over him with a large axe ready to decapitate him. One of his disciples asked, what happens if a man does not imagine this? Rabbi Simcha Banim answered that this would be a sure sign that the evil inclination has already come. If a person no longer feels any anguish and lives in tranquility and peace, then he must have already been decapitated. Don't worry, it's not staying heavy the whole time. It's not Shlomo. Shlomo